Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the latest episode of A2Y. I'm Addison Young, your host, as always and forever. And let's just dive right into today's message. Have you been listening to the news lately? Because if you have, you've probably been bombarded with the same stuff I have. This morning I was listening to it, and there was just a lot of, bad stuff going on in terms of the kids, actually. Obviously, if you are, as of, was it Saturday, July 9th, where a lot of people are talking about the assassination of the tragic Prime Minister of Japan, who was running, I guess it was former Prime Minister, which is tragic. But once I listened to all those headlines, I listened to a lot about the kids and how their mental health is really deteriorating right now, and all the stuff going on with that. And it had me thinking of my life, and when I was a child. I am no longer legally a child, as I just turned 18 not too long ago, but even when I was young, I always tried to center myself around my faith and then center myself around other people who also had lots of faith, and that is really something that helped me. I never seemed to struggle with the pointlessness that a lot of other kids did. A lot of my other peers seemed to suffer with. I always had a point. I was very faithful, and God always gave me a point to my life and still does. With that all admitted, I made sure to I surrounded myself with people like that. So I never really understood it, the hopelessness and the, just the pointlessness to life, the people questioning, what is the meaning of life? I never really struggled with it, but I know a lot of people do. And that's not something I really encountered myself until I got to middle school and high school, when I'm not saying I encountered it, but I met people who were struggling with it. They really were struggling with, what's the point of this life? Why am I here? And it got me thinking, if I'm so full of, this point to life, what are they lacking that, I have it, but what is it about what I have that they don't? And I was starting to think of when my life had the most meaning, and it was whenever I got closest to God and I felt His presence directly through me. And with my peers who had God, it was always the same. It was whenever they were closest to Him. And there was one thing that always showed when they were close to God, and it was peace beyond all understanding. In fact, Philippians 4:7 says, "And the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." And that's something that I really want to focus on. It's always peace beyond understanding. I have lots of missionaries and pastors in my background, and I've heard all kinds of stories of them being like, man, I don't have the financial means, the physical means, or whatever to go do what God is calling me to do. And then right before they have to go do it, right before they're about to jump off that ledge and commit to it, a peace comes down and surrounds them. It's beyond all understanding. They're in a very stressful situation. They're not in a situation where they should have lots of peace, and yet they are full of it. That is what I'm going to harp on right now. It's that it's peace beyond understanding. The verse literally says, which will surpass all understanding. It doesn't make sense why you're full of peace in that specific moment, but you are. It's undeniable. And when it comes down and touches you, it just, like a common say says, it just hits different. It really does. Another verse I'm going to point out here is John 16:33. "I have said these things to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulations, but take heart, I have overcome the world." We live in a world that's full of trials and tribulations and constant struggles that we have to go through. And Christians will have that peace to go through it. They'll be calm in the situations, calm in the eye of the storm, as it says. But you have to be able to have that to get through this life. And if you don't, that's when you have lots of struggles and all kinds of stuff going on. Brings me back to the news I was listening to. These kids, they don't have a lot of point to life. They don't know what they want to do with their life, and they don't know what they have in their life, and they don't know what they're existing for. So they're constantly searching and meaning and for meaning. They're going to TikTok and they're finding nothing but garbage there, and then they're going to the other social medias and finding nothing but garbage there. Their life has no meaning, and so they end up just hunting for dopamine rushes and all kinds of stuff, and leading to addictions and ruined lives. But if you have faith in God, you have that peace that like it says, it surpasses all understanding, and it leaves you in a better place than a lot of other people, because you have a point to life. And like I've gotten on in the past, God has a point for you, and He has a mission for you individually. So when you find that point and you strive for that mission as an individual, you will always be able to wake up in the morning and go, that's what I got to work for today. That thing that God has given me, that is what I got to work for today. And it doesn't matter anything else in this world, that's what I got to go do. So when you're listening to the news and you hear about all these kids struggling, how about you go out and you try to find a way to give back to those kids and show them that there is a point to life and something that surpasses their understanding and gives you something that makes them completely different. Show what you have that they're lacking. Thank you for listening to this latest episode of A2Y, and I will see you next time.